It's easy, he said. Don't pay someone to do it. It's as easy as popping out a speaker and putting the next one in. If you are planning on putting G12-65 Celestion speakers in your Fender Twin Reverb, here are some things you need to be prepared for. 1, definitely take this front ballast off, this front plate with the speakers, because you have to get the eight bolts off of the existing Jensen speakers over there. Now, something you should know going into this, you got 8 screw holes on the factory speakers. You got 4 screw holes on the Celestion G12-65's, the Heritage. These will fit the same spacing as these screws, but you're gonna have a big problem here, which is you gotta get rid of 4 screws on each of these speakers. I'm sure there are many ways to do this, and there are people who are in construction who can do this better than I can. What I did was I got some of these. Do not get cheap ones. I got cheap ones and it was a pain in the butt. Get really good. I think they're kind of like bolt cutters, but they're not. They allow you to kind of come at it from the top angle. This is all Home Depot had. I really like Home Depot, so definitely order whatever you're gonna get through there. Not sponsored by them. But I use those to basically trim down these screws that stick up. And now I'm doing this process of filing down these screws so that they're flush. So be prepared before you embark on this journey. You're gonna need some tools, and you're gonna need a little bit of sweat equity in it. Now, to get this front panel off was pretty easy. It's just 5 screws, and you can unscrew it and it'll come right out. So as long as you have a regular Phillips head screwdriver, you should be able to do it. But really, if I could go back and do this again, I would, if you have this tool and you have a really good one that you could just, you know, chomp down and get really, really close to this wood board, it's gonna make things so much easier. Another thing is you definitely need some of these grip locking, I think they're called pliers maybe, because the bolts here that go on these screws, they aren't a standard size. They're kind of unique. So none of my ratchet set nor any of my wrenches would fit this size. But they did come off very easily with a pair of these locking pliers. So after you've completed the filing process, you grab one of your speakers, make sure your connections are towards the inside, and it will fit in there. It will fit in the 4 screws. So you should be good on that once you get the filing done. Not for the faint of heart, but man, this is gonna sound good. I cannot wait. Got the speakers seated on there. So now I'm gonna use these again to tighten down those bolts. Let me see if I can show you how to do this. So I'm gonna use this twisty on the end to loosen it just a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is I want the opening of these clamps to be slightly smaller than the bolt. Once I get that size right, they should lock on there like that. And now I should be able to tighten those. Do the same process here for all of them. Make sure that's seated on there nice. Can't really see with my hand here, so I'm gonna put the phone down and complete this process on all the bolts. At this point, I've mounted the speakers to the front panel, and now I'm just going to lay the amp down so I can re-secure this front panel to the amp itself. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Just gonna lay it down, and we can see from this side, it's gonna just sit right in place there. Everything's good. Got our screw holes all lined up. And so now I'm going to put my screw in there, put my screw in there, and then 3 screws down here under the reverb tank. Something I did have to do was the top of this front cover, it did not set into place when I laid the amp down. So I did have to pick the amp up and just kind of shimmy it in there, but it wasn't anything technical. I just had to kind of wobble it until it got in there. Something I'm fairly surprised about is I thought I was gonna have to take the reverb tank out, but I don't. It's kind of a weird angle that I would screw these in, but surprisingly it goes in there. So let me just show you what I mean. Give me a second with the camera because this is gonna be a horrible shot. All right, so there. I'm gonna put the screw in with the screwdriver, and you'll see I'm at like a weird angle here. If I just go vertical, this is a weird angle to be screwing things in at, but it works, surprisingly. It goes right in. So really surprised with that, really happy with that, especially after how complicated some of this other stuff was. To not have to deal with taking the reverb tank out, it's pretty nice. And we can just put our third one in there. Try and get the screws situated here. I'm selling that amp if anybody wants it. I'm getting a basement. There we go. Let's see, again, at a weird angle with this. It's like a weird angle to be screwing this in, but it goes right in. Look at that. It goes right in. No problems at all. Super easy. And at this point, the speakers are in. The amp is, for the most part, reassembled. I mean, I have to put those 2 little back panels on again, but hook up the speakers, put those back panels on, and we're cooking. To put these back panels back on, it is literally, you just set them in place. And the cool part about these panels is, since they're so accessible, you can just use the power drill. As long as you don't overdo it, gotta take care of your equipment. So we're gonna go ahead and set that in there. And now we're gonna just nice and tight. Look at that. Super easy. After this, the next step is we're gonna hook those speakers up, and then we have about, I don't know, 10 to 20 hours of speaker break-in. And then we're really gonna start sounding good, which is what we invested for. Don't get impatient. Okay, now, before I did anything, at the very beginning of this whole process, I took pictures of what the original speaker hookup looked like, and I also made some markings on some of these wires so that I could reapply them properly. Here's the end result. We got everything hooked up. Now I'm gonna plug it in and see what it sounds like. Probably not that great, because they're gonna be brand new speakers, but that's part of the process, and it might take a few weeks of playing these for a couple hours a day to really break them in. For our very first sound, we're gonna use the Custom Shop Strat. And These are so much, what's the word? They're not stiff. They're very articulate already, and I have neighbors, so I'm playing at a low volume. These sound good. Wow, I can't wait to play these loud. They really sound good. Let's grab a pick. More videos to come. Wow. So good. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth the sweat. It's worth freaking filing those nails down. That was brutal, but man, I would do it again. Highly recommend it.